Hello and welcome to another Jersey football chat. Today I am joined by Brett Pitman. How are you doing, Brett?
Yeah, very well, thank you. All good.
Good. I'll go into the question straight away. Taking it way back in your Jersey days, who do you remember playing over here, and who did you play for?
Yeah, I do. I started at First Tower, under 14s, and then moved to St Paul's and played for, I think they're under 14s, under 16s, under 18s, and reserves, and then first team.
Yeah. What kind of memories do you have of back then? Did you ever play at Springfield?
Yeah, I've played there a lot of times before. Obviously, before it's now a cage, isn't it? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 3G now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was always something special about playing there as a young kid. The pitch was always good under floodlights. It was always felt like an occasion when you were a young kid. I enjoyed playing there.
Yeah, for sure. Um, how did the move to Bournemouth come about? Obviously, being a Jersey boy, how did they spot you, and how did it all come about?
Jack Cannon was obviously at Bournemouth, and then so I ended up somehow going for a trial. I think through St Paul's for a week, and then they come over with their youth team, and our Jersey under 18s played them.
Yeah,
I think I scored 4 against them, and then St Paul's first team played them the next day, and I think I played the first half and scored again. So I think I signed pretty quickly after that.
yeah. How much did it encourage you knowing Jack was there beforehand as well? How much was that a help to you in a way?
Yeah, it was a help. Obviously, go when I moved there, knowing somebody, it makes it a lot easier. Obviously, you move away from your friends and your family, so knowing someone, it was a lot easier. I'd obviously been to a lot of places before training and that, so I kind of knew what to expect anyway. But yeah, it certainly made it a lot easier.
How big was the step up from Jersey to professional club?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it was just playing different opposition. Whereas obviously in Jersey, you end up knowing who you're playing every week. There's only obviously a certain number of teams there, whereas
Yeah,
in England you've got a bit more of a variation and different teams, different standards, and I think that was the main difference.
for sure. Um, you played under Eddie Howe in the youth days, and then he went on to be your manager further down the line as well. How big an impact did he have on your career?
Yeah, he when I was first into the first team, he was obviously a player at the time, so I played with him, and then he had to retire due to injury, and then he become like a first team coach when I was still young, and I did a lot of work with him, um,
Yeah,
like after training on days off, and yeah, and then he obviously got the manager's job. Yeah, he was massive for me, really. I won't hide the fact that he's probably been the biggest part of my career. The best football I've played under has been under him, and I really enjoyed working for him. Um,
are you, are you not surprised by how much he is rated by a lot of the English press and even football fans? How highly he is rated?
no, it doesn't surprise me because obviously I've worked firsthand with him. Obviously, since I've left, I've seen him work. I'm still in contact with him. Um, live nearby, so it's not a surprise at all how hard he works. His work ethic is probably one of his biggest strengths because he works tirelessly day in day out and deserves every success that he gets.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's what gets him to the top, the hard work. Um, in 2008 season, 2007-8 season, um, that was how tough was that season for you? Obviously, getting relegated and all the stuff going behind the scenes at the Bournemouth as well that year. How tough was that?
Yeah, I think that went hand in hand. I think we obviously we started with a 10-point deduction, I think, that season, and obviously went down by less than 10 points. I think we ended up going down on the final day of the season. So yeah, being relegated is not a nice feeling. I think in that instance there was probably outside factors of why we went down. In terms of the administration and things going on, I was so young, I don't think I really understood what was actually happening. I would turn up and train, play, and you're all right because you're young. But for the older lads with mortgages, with kids, I think obviously they probably felt the impact a bit more, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And you touched on it there. You broke into the team so young. How was that for you to get into the team at the age you did? Was it a quick transition, or how did you adapt to it?
Yeah, it certainly wasn't quick. I don't think it was. I think I was on the bench when I was, I think, 16, and then made my debut when I was not far off, just turned 17. I was so young. I probably wasn't ready for it at the time. I was still playing reserves, but involved with the first team pretty much every week, which was a great experience. Mostly coming off the bench, and I think it took a few seasons of that to then gradually you become used to it, and you feel part of it and feel ready to play week in, week out, which eventually I obviously did.
For sure, for sure. You also got a few promotions with them this season. 2 seasons after you got relegated, you got promoted to League One again. And then I think you had a brief spell away from the club, and then you came back and helped them eventually get to the Premier League. How good was that season in the Championship for you?
Yeah, I mean it was unbelievable. It started probably, like you say, when I come back. Our team from League One pretty much never changed from the team that got promoted to the Premier League. We added one or two players, but on the whole, it was the same team, and that's the best football I've played in, without a doubt. Our team was very good, and goes to show how many of them have gone on to play in the Premier League, and obviously some still are playing in the Premier League. So it was a special time. It was a special group of lads. It was thoroughly enjoyable to play in. But we did work hard. We worked very hard as a team, and probably that was our biggest thing. Everyone would go on about how good we passed the ball, but our work ethic was probably the biggest thing. We would just go out and really overrun teams.
For sure. And a lot of people say the Championship is probably one of the hardest leagues in the world. Do you agree with that? Especially with it often was a weekend, a midweek, weekend kind of job.
Yeah, it definitely is the toughest. I think more than anything, anybody can beat anybody on any given day. So to put consistent runs together, you really have to be at it every week, if you want to say that. So yeah, I think it is one of the toughest leagues. It's relentless, like you say, Saturday, Tuesday, every week.
Yeah.
But we were lucky that season with injuries. We didn't pick up too many, and really kept a settled side to a point. Obviously, there was changes throughout, but not too many.
Yeah, yeah. How much of a regret? Obviously, we don't know what happened in that season, why Bournemouth didn't keep you on, but how much of a regret was it never playing in the Premier League for you as a player and as an individual?
Yeah, it was. I mean, to be honest, when I left Bournemouth, it was my choice. I sat down with Eddie. Like I said before, I've got a really good relationship with him. He said, "Look, it's going to be difficult for you to get a lot of minutes on the pitch. We're going to obviously sign players." And I was in the last year of my contract. He said, I can't promise you that we can offer you a new one." And at the time, Ipswich offered me a good contract for 3 years. I had a young family, and that's what I chose. A bit of security. Looking back, probably I wouldn't have made that decision. In hindsight, I would have stayed at Bournemouth for at least 6 months and seen where it went. But I made it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed my time at Ipswich. It's a great club, but looking back, I probably would have made a different decision.
And same with the Blackpool. They were close to signing you, Ian Holloway. How did that go?
Yeah, see that's the total opposite. I wouldn't change that decision whatsoever. We were League Two at the time, or League One. I can't remember. I think we were League One at the time. I think. Obviously, Blackpool at the time were Premier League club. I went up there, had a medical, passed my medical, and just didn't really get a good feeling. I met Ian Holloway, who was really good, to be honest, was great, but didn't really get a good feeling from the club or the chairman. I just felt like I was another body. I didn't feel really special. I just felt like I was a name on a list. So I was more than happy just to go back to Bournemouth and play for them in League One. It just so happened over that weekend, Bristol City ended up agreeing a fee with Bournemouth, and I went there.
Yeah. Obviously, you went to Bristol City for a few seasons, and came back to Bournemouth, and then Ipswich. But Pompey really stands out to me. You became captain. You had a blinding season as well. Blinding few seasons. How was that experience for you? And you were a bit of a fan's favourite there as well.
Yeah, Portsmouth's a really good club. The fans are, well, I'm sure you've seen them. They're unbelievable, home and away. They are second to none, really. To be honest, they're fantastic. And it was a privilege to be captain and a privilege to play in front of them. Unfortunately, we didn't really achieve what I thought we would achieve, getting promotion, because that club should be in the Championship minimum.
How good was it, Fratton Park as well? Obviously, it's a really historic stadium in the English football. How good was it to play there? And even the other stadiums that you played at, how good is it to play in front of the crowds? And how different is it to, obviously, we know it as Jersey and not many people, but how good is it people chanting your name and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's really, obviously, playing in front of crowds. Once you're used to it, it's the best feeling. And obviously, at the moment, we've had it taken away from us, so it kind of reiterates how important the fans are, and what a big difference to the game they make, really. I think a lot of footballers would have taken it for granted before. And obviously, the situation we're in at the moment has probably reaffirmed how big they are. Playing in front of, like you say, Fratton Park, for example, the atmosphere some days, some nights there was ridiculous. Obviously, we took, I think, 50,000 to Wembley.
Yeah.
And obviously Sunderland did the same. So to play in front of a sellout at Wembley was obviously special. But yeah, all fans I've played in front of, to be honest, have been good. They've been really good with me all the time, to be honest.
Would you say that game at Wembley is your standout moment as a player?
No, not really, to be honest. Maybe because it was in the least fashionable trophy, if you like. I think in terms of a single game, probably the night we beat Fulham 5-1 for Bournemouth at Fulham.
Yeah.
As a whole game, as an occasion, I'd probably say any of the three promotions, really. Probably in the end, the one where we went up to the Premier League is the standout one for obvious reasons. But when you achieve something as a group that you've worked through for the whole season, it is special. So probably any three of them, really.
How good was it? Obviously, as a group, it's fantastic, but for the fans as well, to get Bournemouth to the Premier League and the journey that you went on to make it happen as well. How good was that whole kind of experience?
Yeah, I think it probably made it more special. Like you say, the journey that we'd been on. You see faces obviously in the crowd and in and around the ground that had been there when we had the points deductions in League Two, and now they're watching Man United, Liverpool, whoever it was at the time at Bournemouth in the league. So it's special for them as well as the players. And I think Eddie was really good at bringing everyone together. He made people aware that were new to the club, the history and what people had done in League One and League Two, to be able to give the opportunity to the people that are coming in the Championship and ultimately the Premier League. So I think people that signed for Bournemouth were aware of the history and the recent history, really.
For sure. You've played with many players over the seasons. Are there a few that stand out to you as the best you've played with?
There's a few, yeah, that stand out. The best, I think, probably Darren Anderton, right at the end of his career. I think technically he was the best by a long way. And like I say, that was right at the end of his career. He was frightening, really, to be honest. And then after him, I played with so many good players: Callum Wilson, Matt Ritchie, Mark Pugh, Charlie Daniel. Basically, that whole team was frightening. So, yeah, any of them, but probably Darren Anderton stands out as the best.
For sure. And manager-wise, is it Eddie Howe?
Yeah, but again, stands out a long way for me. From the reasons that I've already said, I've worked. Mick McCarthy was good to work for, but yeah, Eddie is miles ahead of everyone in my opinion.
How much depth does he go into in his analysis and team talks?
Yeah, not maybe so much the team talks, but the analysis. If we play on a Saturday and then we've got no game till the following Saturday, you'd start on the Tuesday in terms of opposition, what you want to do yourself. You would never ever go into a game under him and not be prepared. That's the easiest way to put it. We were always prepared, and I'd probably say we're probably always the best prepared. Whoever we played against, nobody would have been better prepared than us.
You're now at Swindon. How's the season going, and how, especially with the current climate, how much you kind of miss it? How different is it, basically?
Very different. It's rubbish, to be honest. Like I said before, once you're used to playing in front of fans, to then turn up at empty stadiums, it's an anti-climax. It's difficult. Obviously, you've then got to motivate yourself rather than have a crowd to do it for you. When you score, there's obviously no reaction. It's not good. I don't think any player would turn around and say they're enjoying it, to be honest, because I don't think they are.
Yeah, and you're obviously near the bottom at the moment, but it's very tight near the bottom. How exciting is it? Obviously, you've had promotions. How exciting, or is it nerve-wracking playing in a kind of relegation battle? Which way around is it?
It's certainly not exciting, but I wouldn't say it's nerve-wracking. We've still got, I think, 20-odd games to go. So we've had a tough season. I don't think there's any getting away from it. Obviously, we lost our manager to Salford. The new manager's come in. We've had a lot of injuries. The financial landscape for a lot of lower league clubs because of what's going on is difficult. So it's difficult to sign good players. So there's been a lot of factors, and maybe, to be honest, we probably as a team, as a squad, not been quite good enough at the moment.
For sure. Obviously, coming towards the end of your career, is Jersey something you might be interested in? Jersey Bulls, maybe one day, even a little stint there?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I've not really ever thought about it. Obviously, I'm aware that they're playing and they're doing well. when they're allowed to play. Obviously, who knows? It's something I wouldn't rule out. It's not something, like I said, that I've overly thought about, but hopefully I've got a few more years left playing in League One and League Two, and then I'll see what happens. Obviously, living in England, got kids in school and stuff, so there's a lot of factors you'd have to think about. But I certainly wouldn't rule it out. But obviously, like I said, it's not something I've thought about.
Yeah, for sure. You spoke about having kids and stuff. How has this year been, especially the homeschooling side of things? Has that been hard to juggle?
The first lockdown was okay because obviously we weren't playing, so I was at home, so I could help the wife, and we we live in Bournemouth, so we're quite lucky that we're like Jersey, we're near the beach, so when the weather was good, we was all right.
Yeah.
This lockdown's been a little bit more challenging. I think obviously the weather's not been as good, so you can't get out as much, and I'm still playing and training every day, so it's been a lot tougher on her than it has on me, to be honest.
For sure. Is coaching something that you might be interested in the future as well?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, certainly. Yeah, I've done my badges. I've got probably another one to do. But yeah, certainly coaching, and I'd like to have a go at management at some level to see, just to see. I'd like to think I know a bit about the game and I understand football. So I know that doesn't give you a right to be a good manager, but I'd like to have a go at it. I think and just see how it goes.
are you helping maybe the younger 19, 18-year-olds coming through now at Swindon, or is that something you're doing as well?
Only the very we've got, I think, maybe one or two young lads that are training with us. The rest are separate. We're obviously in separate bubbles, so we don't really see the youth team.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, I've been in to help at Bournemouth. A lot of my friends are coaches there, so that it's easy for me to go there and help them and just see what it's like, really, because it is completely different.
For sure.
So,
and talking about advice, obviously we've got a few good youngsters coming through in Jersey. What advice would you give to them about becoming a professional footballer, and if they have a chance to go and impress, what would you tell them to do?
Yeah, just to do exactly that, just to go and take a chance. And I used to go away pretty much every half term, every holidays. I was at different clubs, and a lot of the time it didn't work out. But you've got to just keep going. It's difficult when you're in Jersey to obviously be spotted first of all, and then be able to get away. It's tough, but if you do manage to, just work as hard as you can and try and enjoy it, really. And if you get a knockback, then try not to let it affect you and try and go again.
For sure. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for talking.
Okay.
It's been brilliant catching up, and it's been brilliant following you over the years as well. And it's been great as a Jerseyman having a Jersey person to follow over, and I'm sure it's the same for everyone as well. So well done for all you've done.
Thank you.